You know what's sad? There's only 2 more of these pick streams left after this one. French Championship games next week, right? Already. And then Super Bowl. And of course, with the Super Bowl one, you have a week between. You have a week off in between where you have the Pro Bowl and stuff. You know what's crazy about this whole thing, too? For anyone who's followed my channel since I really started taking YouTube seriously, which was, God, what, 2016, 17, when I really started making videos of me foolishly thinking that those Browns teams were going to be any good. You know, honestly, if you need a good laugh, go watch those videos I did early in my YouTube time. Especially when the videos of me doing like schedule predictions and stuff. Like, I actually looked at that roster in 2016 and 17, and I thought, you know, that Browns team's going to be good. Make myself laugh too. I do that all the time. I make myself laugh. I'm thinking, I was really one of those Kool-Aid dudes. Damn. I was that dude, I was chugging that freaking Browns Kool-Aid. Oh my God. I thought that roster was going to be good with freaking RG3 as the quarterback. And then he didn't even last a game. Thing is, though, comparing those two teams to this one, I'm pretty sure this team that we have right now would probably boat race both of those teams. The 2016 one especially. Just think bald ass Hugh Jackson's gonna outcoach Kevin. No. No. For real though. Kevin would coach circles around Hugh Jackson's bald ass. Can you believe Hugh Jackson has another job as an OC somewhere? I mean, of course, it's college, but still. Can't lie though, you know, he's hustling out here. What's up, Jacob? Missed the Cavs game. How did we do tonight? Spider cooked. He had like what, 35? Darius kind of gave us all a damn heart attack, but he seemed to be okay. But for the most part, we did good. We got our revenge on the Pacers. What's up, Yusuf? Good evening. But yeah, what's going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with my NFL Divisional Round picks. Not in the Steven Rose tournament anymore. I was eliminated. Unfortunately, oh well, doesn't really matter. I'm still doing these picks. Got to keep it going. We only have, I believe, 2 more rounds after this one. And yeah, things should really pick up this week. Hopefully, if everything goes well, this week will be lit. It better be freaking lit. I always hear from people saying, yeah, the divisional round's one of the best weekends of the playoffs because it's like things get serious. And you finally see the best teams in each conference get to play. Right? Obviously, the only teams that are going to be left are the 2 of the best. But, we'll see how this week goes. Of course, the games will be later on in the day. 2 games a day. I'll be doing both of them. You already know I gotta me have a nice big old cold glass of soda, bro, to keep my mouth from freaking drying up on me. Keep the palate moist, if you know what I'm saying. All right, let's get into the action here. So we get into the divisional round, and like I said, things pick up around here. As let me pull up the history of the 2 teams that we'll be starting off with. That being the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. They actually faced off a couple years ago, mind you. Remember? Yeah, once upon a time they faced off before, and I streamed that game. Oh man, that was a fun stream. Deshaun Watson and the Texans went against the Chiefs. Can't speak. It's late at night. Blah. Love it. They got off to a very, very fast start, and then they just sputtered out. It's like you didn't know it was a marathon instead of a sprint. You out here running full speed thinking it's a sprint. You're running like a, you know, 800-meter dash or something, like a 800-meter thing, and you're out here running full speed. Well, no, yeah, you're thinking it's a 100-meter dash, but it's a full 400-meter, which means you got to go all the way around one time. The Texans only did the one, like the one time through. They forgot. Now they are actually 0-5 in the divisional round. They've never made it further. That's crazy. It's it's even crazier to see the teams that they lost to. Ravens, Patriots, Chiefs, Ravens. Wow. Ravens, Chiefs, Patriots. Those are the only teams they faced. And of course, they get the Chiefs again. They lost 51-31 last time they played, back all the way back in 2019. Deshaun Watson. Wow. Before he really got you know what I'm saying. I'm not even going to get into it. It's a treacherous situation. Now on the other side, of course, Kansas City, they have had one of the best runs in terms of like year by year success in the playoffs that we really haven't seen since Brady. I mean, it's to the point now where we call the playoffs the Arrowhead Invitational. It seems like every year they have home field, including this year. Go figure. Figure. They have it. They have home field. That's why wouldn't they? Hey. So yeah, they locked down, number one seed out in the AFC. And they are actually 8-8 in the divisional round overall in 16 games. But since they got Mahomes, they've been on this like monster run. It's insane what they've been able to do. And it's funny because for a while, the only one who could stop him was Tom Brady. And then Joe Burrow beat him in the conference title game in 2021. And now you got Bungles fans. I know I got to bring those losers into this. You're saying because the Chiefs got smoked in their last game of the season, talking about, oh, they're scared of us, so they lost to the Broncos on purpose. Do you think they lost to them on purpose? They're not going to put Mahomes and Kelsey out there in a meaningless game when you have the number one seed. You got nothing to play for. All they'd be doing is stat padding, right? Yeah, let's have Mahomes and Kelsey and them risk injury for stat pad just to make sure the Bungles get in the damn playoffs. Like they really give a crap. Oh, they're scared. They're scared of us. They ain't scared of nothing, fool. Like the Bungles beat them by 3 in overtime. Oh my God, they needed things to go their way big time in that game, man. But hey, that's whatever. The Bungles are on the couch just like us. So now, you look at this game overall. The line is currently Kansas City favored by 8, over under 41.5. Game is at 4:30 on ESPN and ABC. And of course, like I said, I will be live because we're going to have some fun. Now, again, looking at the leaders for both teams, of course, CJ Stroud versus Pat Mahomes. You know, these two actually met a few weeks ago in the regular season. And obviously, it didn't go so well for Houston. They lost by 8, so they were able to keep it close. But yeah, the Chiefs, they have been on this crazy run this year, 15-2, 8 undefeated at home. And this is what happens when you get Pat Mahomes' actual weapons that work. Because last year they were not great at all. But now they're back to their super powered, super team ways, kind of, just being the usual. So the deficit was actually gone up. It was the over under 41 and a half. Money line plus 360 for Houston, minus 500 for Kansas City. But the spread actually went up. It was 7.5 to start. Now it's at 8. And it might go up even more. Who knows? But CJ Stroud this year, 336 of 532, 3,727 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Pat Mahomes, 392 of 581, 3,928 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. On the ground, Joe Mixon, 245 carries, 1,016 yards, 11 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt, 200 carries, 728 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he's only been there for like half the season, barely around there. Oh, Collins, 68 receptions, 1,006 yards, 7 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 97 receptions, 823 yards, only 3 touchdowns. Now, in terms of who I think is going to win, I think it's easy to determine. If the Texans had Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs, I'd give them a great chance to win this game. Because having Diggs and Dell with Nico and Joe Mixon, well, that's good as you get. But no Diggs, no Dell. I think the Texans will keep it close. We already know what Pat Mahomes does in the playoffs, right? There's a reason why the only guys who've been able to beat him in the playoffs, one's retired in the booth. The other one is technically at home because his defense is ass. So ass that they finally fired their defensive coordinator. And the funniest part is, I thought I saw something about like Wink Martindale. I'm hoping they hire Wink because they'll be putting his corners on an island all freaking game. Yeah, put your corner on an island against Jerry Jeudy. See what happens. Nah, but I gotta start bringing the Bungles into this. Then I'm gonna have their fans popping in the chat talking mess when they're on the couch just like us. I'm just happy that we weren't good enough to be out of a good position for a quarterback. We could get whatever quarterback we want if we want one at number 2. But there's a reason why the only 2 guys who've been able to beat Mahomes in the playoffs, one's in the booth calling games, Tom Brady, and the other one is Joe Burrow. Nobody else has been able to beat him. Can CJ Stroud do it? I mean, he could. But man, you're going you have to be in a firefight with freaking Mahomes. Would they be able to match him punch for punch? Guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, as far as my pick goes, you guys already know who I'm rolling with. Until they are beaten consistently in the playoffs, I cannot go against Kansas City. I can't. Until they're beaten in the playoffs consistently, I can't go against them. They're gonna probably squeak by the Texans. Maybe it might even come to some ref ball. But yeah, I gotta go Kansas City to win this game. It's the way it is. I'm going Kansas City over Houston. And of course, they will face the winner of Baltimore and Buffalo. Which means we either get a rematch of last year, Kansas City, Baltimore, or we get a rematch also from last year, Kansas City, Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo. If the Texans pull off the upset of the year, we would also get a rematch from last year's playoffs, Texans and Ravens. So no matter what, you're going to be getting a rematch because the Chiefs played both Bills and Ravens last year, and the Texans. Well, obviously they played us and the Ravens last year, of course. Joe Flacco turned into a damn pumpkin in the playoffs. Ah, Joe Flacco. Mm-mm. I almost wanted to call him Joe Flaccid. Oh God, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Joe Flaccid. Why on earth did that just pop in my head? Thinking of nicknames and that just pops in my head, bro. What the heck? Well, that's Crazy Dog After Dark for you. Oh, brother. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go Kansas City over Houston. Shout out Stephen Rose, the only one of the or loyal to Houston as well. Two of the only Texans fans I know on here. In terms of Chiefs fans, I don't know too many of them on here. I mean, they had that one criminal, I guess, that dude who dressed up like a wolf, but he's a freaking douchebag criminal, so yeah, he can rot in jail for all I care. Freaking robbing banks to fund your freaking trips. Like, come on, bro. There's better ways to do that. You could be like us and make freaking YouTube videos. You can make some bank with that. But no, I don't want to rob banks. Yeah, great idea. Have fun watching the game in jail, bozo. But yeah, I'm going Kansas City. They'll probably win by like a touchdown or two. They'll keep it close. But yeah, Kansas City's going to win. Moving on to the NFC side at 8 o'clock, we have Detroit and Washington. What a matchup this will be. Detroit, obviously, coming into this game, 9.5 point favorites, over under 55.5. And it's insane looking at the last couple of years for the Detroit Lions, what their fans have been through. I mean, just think about it, right? I mean, I'm going to look up their freaking history here real quick. The last couple of years. Like, this team is like the Browns, man. They're like the NFC version of the Browns. Except now they've actually been able to experience sustained success. Like, last year, they made it all the way to the conference championship game in Dan Campbell's third year. Before that year, because last year they won 12 games. In his first 2 years, they won 12 games combined. Patricia was there, remember? They were stinky. They hadn't been really good since Caldwell left. And even then, they could not get out of the wild card round. In fact, the last time they got through the wild card round, God, it was all the way back in 1991. Larry Sanders was running around, bro. Barry freaking Sanders. It was 5 years from being born. No, well, less than 5 years from being born. It's crazy. Like, they could not get through the wild card round to save their lives. And then Dan Campbell shows up, talks about trumping it. You're trumping at your knees, trumping your knees off, whatever, ankles, whatever. All of a sudden, they make it all the way to the conference championship season that those fans have experienced since 2014. This year they went 15-2. Out of nowhere, it's like, oh, okay, 15-2. Oh, I sure hope we can build off that amazing season last year. Oh yeah, they built off of it. In fact, they improved. They shot right past it. 15-2 on the year. There are 2 losses by 4 to Tampa, week 2. And they lost by 6 to Buffalo in week 15. It's freaking crazy, man, what they've been able to do. Wow. That's insane. It's insanity, right? I know Detroit sports fans are having the time of their lives right now. I mean, think about it, right? Imagine being a Detroit sports fan right now. I gotta look and see where their other teams are real quick. I know I'm gonna draw this out because there's only 8 games. And I don't really want this to be like a 10-minute video, so I'm gonna try and make this at least about almost an hour. Right around that. I'm not gonna go full hour. I'm gonna go maybe like 45 minutes or so. Depending, I'm just gonna talk and talk and talk, and then once we get through these games, then I'll be done. Like, you have the Red Wings, you have the Pistons, right? The Pistons are actually good. I mean, it's a shock. And even the Tigers. The Tigers made the playoffs. Yeah, they got beat by the Guardians. But okay, you made the playoffs. You experienced it. You know, the Red Wings, they're above 500. 20 and 19 and 4. Only sucky part is that they're in the Atlantic. And the Atlantic appears to be very loaded this year for the most part. Blue Jackets are fourth in the Metro. That's even more insane. Of course, they'd have to do a lot of winning to catch up to Carolina or New Jersey, but hey, you never know. What's even crazier is the Blue Jackets are 15-5-3 at home. They've won 5 in a row. It's insane. They have the longest winning streak in the NHL. 5 in a row. Do I see this continuing? I don't know. It's fun. I'm having fun. I didn't expect them to be good, or at least like this good. I thought, okay, they're gonna be fun to watch. I'll enjoy it. They'll be watchable, entertaining, and fun. Yeah, they're fun. And it's like you look at the NBA and the Pistons also. They're in 8th place. They're tied for 7th, and only half a game out of 6th. So they're in the fun right now too. Detroit sports are fun for the first time in I don't know how long. Like overall. And they're facing a Washington team that just barely squeaked by Tampa Bay. And they won their first playoff game since '05. Not even kidding. Like, it's actually insane what they've been able to do in Washington. I mean, of course, Washington's made the playoffs before. I mean, I've streamed one of their games against the Bucks, ironically enough, back in 2021, I believe it was. 2020 against it was Heineke and Brady facing off. Yeah, it was 2020. They lost in the wild card round with Ron Rivera. This is Dan Quinn's first year, and they're a playoff team. Like, damn, they finished second in the NFC East. They were only like what a few games behind the Eagles. They were right up there with them the entire time. Now, the Commanders, playoff history wise, well, yeah. How about the Lions getting their first wild card? Oh no, they didn't play in the wild card, but they're 1-9 in the wild card. But hey, guess what? They're 4-2 in the divisional round. Yeah, they're 4-2 in the divisional round. The Commanders, on the other hand, historically, oh, they're 7-9 in the divisional round. They haven't made it this far though since 2005 when they lost to the Seahawks that year. I think that was the year they made the Super Bowl. The Lions obviously went run last year all the way to the conference championship where they lost to the Niners by 3. And again, I streamed that game. That was fun to watch. Ironically enough, the last time they made it that far was 1991 again because they faced the Redskins or the Commanders and they lost. So they face them again here. The last time besides last year. Wow. That's crazy. It's nuts. But yeah, this game is going to be another banger. Jaden Daniels actually leads the team in passing and rushing yards. He's what? 331 of 480, 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and then 148 carries, 891 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Their quarterback almost has 1,000 rushing yards. Wow. He's a better running back than most running backs. That's crazy. Jared Goff for the Lions, 390 of 539, 4,629 yards, 37 touchdowns, 12 picks. Jahmyr Gibbs, 250 carries, 1,412 yards, 16 touchdowns. And then through the air, or receiving yards leaders, Terry McLaurin, 82 receptions, 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, 115 receptions, 1,263 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Yeah, they have to go from facing Godwin and Evans to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. They're going to have their hands full, for sure. Meaning the Commanders, of course. But yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say I think the Lions are going to win this game. They're going to keep it, again, another close one. It'll be a banger. I can't wait to stream this game. But I'm going to go with the Lions to squeak this one out. The spread, damn, the spread went way up. It opened as a 5.5 point Detroit favorite. It's now at almost 10. 9.5. Yeah, Detroit is a 9.5 point favorite. The total over under 55.5. Money line is plus 380. By the way, in the first game, I went Kansas City. I'm gonna go over. This one, I'm gonna go Detroit and the over. I think you'll have two very close games to start off the divisional round. Of course, the Commanders are on a nice little win streak. The last 5 games have all been damn close. Like, they could have easily lost all 5. I think their fans would prefer if they could maybe win a game convincingly for once so they're not stressing out. It even took overtime and some extremely sus coaching by Raheem Morris for the Commanders to beat the Falcons, but then they, barely beat the Cowboys too. But the Cowboys didn't really care. And of course, they beat the Bucks by a field goal. Yeah, late. They literally won the game on a walk-off field goal. That's crazy. Yeah. Lions, of course, their one loss lately has come against the Bills, 48-42. Since then, they have taken care of business against Chicago, San Fran, and Minnesota. By the way, it sounds like David Montgomery could be back, which would be great news for the Lions. We'll see if it happens. But yeah, I'm going to go Lions to win this game. It'll be close, but I'm going to go Detroit. All right. Going to Sunday at 3 o'clock, we have the Eagles and the Rams. Another rematch from earlier this year. Besides, I don't think the Rams and the Lions and Commanders faced off this year, did they? I don't think they did they? No. Now that I think about it, I don't think they did. Yes. Nope, they did not. Okay. Yeah, because the Lions faced the Dallas Cowboys. That's right. Okay. That's right. Okay. Now, Rams Eagles. Again, rematch from earlier this year. Again, the funny part is the two AFC matchups are also rematches too. Yeah, but I'll get into that second one here in a minute. Philly and LA faced off a few weeks ago, all the way back in week 12. Philly got the win 37-20. Saquon Barkley ran amok all over LA, 255 yards on the ground. To mention AJ Brown at 109 through the air. Yeah, this isn't going to be a hard game to pick. It's supposed to be freezing too. 39 degrees in Philadelphia. Wow. It's Philly by 6. That's the spread. Philly's 6-point favorite. The total 43 and a half. And the money line for the Rams is plus 215, for the Eagles minus 260. This is easy. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll take the over again. I think all these games probably go over. Yeah, give me the Eagles and the over. Comparing these stat leaders, Stafford 340 of 517 for 3,762 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's taking really good care of the ball. Jalen Hurts 248 of 361, 2,930 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So again, two quarterbacks who really take care of the ball. Something's got to give. It might be a case of first team to force a turnover might win this game. Because Stafford and the Rams are no slouches. They've been here many, many times. They won a championship. Philadelphia, as you know, I mean, again, I've talked about it before. Really, since Carson Wentz showed up, that's when they really became a serious team. Now, Doug Peterson was there, and then it's like he just wore out his welcome. So they said, see ya. And they hired Nick Sirianni, who can be somewhat cringe. But I think Eagles fans will just tolerate him for the moment. But they he just pissed them off a lot, though, with his antics. The Rams, since McVay took over, they have only missed the playoffs twice. And they were they were good in 2019, 9-7, finished third in the division, and then 5-12 in 2022. Yeah. And of course, that was with Goff, and then, of course, one with Stafford. So they're back in the playoffs, and we'll see how they do. Of course, the Eagles' defense is going to have their hands full dealing with Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp and Kyron Williams and that. But man, dude, my eyes are starting to bother me. You look on the Eagles side, and you think, how can the Rams stop Saquon, Devontae, AJ, Dallas, and all the other weapons that they have? They're not going to be able to. That's why I'm going to say the Eagles win this game. It'll be relatively close, but I think the Eagles pull away late. It'll be like a one touchdown or so lead for most of this game around there. The Rams will keep it close, but eventually the Eagles will pull away. Saquon will break a big one, and that'll just take all the momentum away from the Rams. And the Eagles will pull away and probably win by like 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's the way I have it. Now, Philadelphia, obviously, like I said, really since Doug Peterson got there, his second year, won the Super Bowl, almost said the World Series, won the Super Bowl, and he did miss the playoffs in his final year, but that was enough for them. They're like, "Yep, you're out of here, bum." Bring in Sirianni, and they have not missed the playoffs since. In fact, they've lost 3-6, and then 3. So they've pretty much been a double-digit win team almost every year, except for 2021, where they won 9 games. It's freaking insane, right? Last year they lost in the wild card round. This year they didn't have to worry. Yep. No, they did have to play, but yeah, again, they took care of business like they should, right? Green Bay didn't really put up a fight. They literally, from opening kickoff, forced a fumble. They had control. No worries at all. Beautiful stuff from the Eagles. Now they get the Rams. Should be a fun one. But I'm gonna go Eagles. Yep, give me the birds. But yeah, looking at the leaders, of course, Stafford, like I said, Hurts. On the ground, Kyron Williams, 316 carries, 1,299 yards, 14 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, do I even need to say anything else? 345 carries, 2,005 yards, 13 touchdowns. Puka Nakua, 79 receptions, 990 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jay Brown, 67 receptions, 1,079 yards, 7 touchdowns. Yeah, this is going to be a fun game, but I got the Eagles winning. And then rounding out the weekend, Ravens and Bills. Again, another rematch from earlier this year. Now, do I even need to go over Buffalo? Right. Because unfortunately for Buffalo, they were in the same division as the GOAT, Tom Brady. So they weren't really able to experience the playoffs for really pretty much the entire time Tom Brady was really going. They went from 99 all the way until 2017 between playoff appearances. I mean, look at the coaches they went through. Phillips in 2020 or 2000, excuse me. Yeah, Phillips. Then Williams for 3, Mularkey for 2, Dick Duran all the way up in 2009. Chan Gailey, Doug Marone, Rex Ryan with a little Lynn in there. And then 2017, they hired McDermott. And